how do we align finance and people who control the purse strings outside of the org, right, to get behind us in terms of these investments and in what we're doing. And that's so critical. It's also so challenging. And many people that I talk to who are in both the success and the support space, right, have not historically been used to buying a lot of things, buying a lot of technology. Your biggest asset is your people, and that's also something to make a case for. But maybe Erica, starting with you, what are your thoughts here on this challenge and how to overcome it?
Yeah, I mean, it's ultimately going to come down to integrating with finance. I think every finance person is going to tell you no. No, do you need it? No, do you need the headcount? Like, why? How? Like, there's not something else we can adopt. I think finance was made for tech at some point, quite frankly, because they like to say no to everything. But I think a lot of it is include them. It's kind of like, how do you involve the right people? And like finance, I mean, economics is going to play a factor for us for years to come, I think, just with how things are today. And I think it's how do you partner with finance and provide the right case study and the value add and the customer experience. And I stood up this thing called Tech Tuesday in my organization. And so every Tuesday, we get the tech together. And so it's the tech is the T. So we actually get the technology people. The E is for experience. Is it design experience? Is it customer experience? Is it, marketing? Like who needs to be there? And the C is for the customer. We're constantly thinking about the customer, whether it's somebody internal coming to my team for our service capability or the customer externally. And then the H is the how do we work backwards to make it a better experience? And that's where we find, is it better to bring finance to the table to really get them going? And it was painful. Like our first meeting was supposed to be 60 minutes. It was like 3 hours. I'm just like, oh my God, what are we doing here? Like I was already ready to automate it 30 minutes in because I was like, you folks are all missing the point. But now we're in like this rhythmatic function where we're constantly thinking about the customer, but finance is actually now at the table with us. And I feel like that was the biggest win, is now we have everybody sitting at that table together to say, okay, what's the customer experience? How do we work backwards? Do we want to design for this capability? Okay, finance, you're going to need to open up the purse strings. And I always jokingly say, like, we're a bank, we're well funded. Come on, there's money somewhere. Finance still doesn't find that funny. I do, but
that's on them.
It is on them. That's where we're trying to now work with finance to make them a little bit more humorous. But I mean, that's really how you need to do it, is you need everybody at the table. The one team that you miss at the table creates the worst experience, and that customer is who you're missing.
Lean in, bring them in sooner in the process,
yes,
and
very
then
much
they're
so.
behind you because they see the impact.
Yeah.
Ben, what do you?
Yeah, so I'm deeply close to my finance partners. In fact, I give them like analytics to do on my business, so they kind of understand the business better versus just the spreadsheets. So that just helps them feel like they have a better sense, for the decisions we make. But what I really have found successful or effective, I guess, is just do the right things without having to be asked. And it sounds so simple, but like if I don't need a headcount, I just hold a headcount. If I don't need to buy something, I don't buy something. If I see a duplicated piece of software across the enterprise, I say, who owns that software? What are we paying for that? I have something similar. Let's rationalize that. The point is, when you do the right things, the finance people see that. And they say, you know what, Erica always makes good decisions. We kind of trust her judgment when she asks for money, because she's not always asking for money. Sometimes she's doing the right thing without being told. And sometimes it's good to just get caught doing the right thing. Yeah. And you build up credibility of finance. They know that you're a judicious, user of the company's resources. And versus people who spend it willy-nilly, they're the ones who are always going to be under scrutiny. So, lead from the front and try and do the right thing without being asked, and you'll begin to find the finance people are more supportive of your needs, instead of always trying to inspect and criticize your needs.
That sounds great. Catherine, final words on that?
Yeah, I agree with everything we just kind of shared here. I would say the important thing for me is bringing them closer to the business, right? I spend a lot of time talking about location strategy, because you can over-rotate on that one, and it looks great on paper, and then we're all exposed, right? Because you have an over-rotation of maybe your capacity in one location. And something happens, we know that, now we have a situation. So if I can walk them through the why, we figure out the how and the what together. We go through and we'll do strategies. I'm like, well, I'm thinking about this. The other day I just had a meeting with my finance business partner. I'm like, wow, my overtime cost, that's really high. Where did that come from? And then I let them go figure it out and come back to me, and then I say, ooh, okay, let's talk about that. And then we strategize together, and we walk away with a plan that we both kind of have our fingerprints all over. but I really do leverage them to give me good insights as to how I could be more effective at my business. And I also help them understand how they can be a better business partner at the same time. And I love data models. I'm all about my capacity models, my forecasts, how are we doing to actuals. I make them sit through all of that. And it just helps the conversation because we're not playing catch up, right? They're always engaged.
So they understand the business and then they're a collaborative partner.
100%.